benefits for state officers, the Commission is this morning announcing the reviewed salary structure for the period 2017-2022. This is in line with the established 4-year cycle established by SRC and in readiness for implementation when the newly elected state officers are sworn into office after the general elections of 8th August 2017 or wherever it will be. For purposes of clarity, it will be prudent to first of all clarify that state officer, as defined by the Constitution in Article 260, means a person holding a state office. For clarity again, this is well aligned in Article 260 of the Constitution, which you can make reference to. But they include the President, the Deputy President, Speaker, Governor, Senator, MP, MCAs, among many others. In other words, this statement does not cover the public officers. And I am sure you are aware that we dealt with the public officers shortly or a while ago. In the determination of 2017-2022 remuneration and benefits, the Commission conducted salary survey in selected countries of comparable GDP levels. The survey focused on the principles that are commonly used to determine the remuneration and the benefits structures. Further, the need to reduce disparities in the remuneration levels, both vertically and horizontally, was also taken into consideration. The Commission also considered various policy issues and principles, including the constitutional principles set out under Article 235. Some of these principles include objectivity and impartiality, equity and fairness, competitiveness, affordability and sustainability, adequacy, legal compliance, transparency, and public participation, among others. The last 4 years has been a period of critical evaluation of state officers' jobs and their remuneration provisions and whether they are aligned to the country's broader objectives. The Commission felt it was important to scrutinize if the current remuneration structure is properly aligned to the objectives of the Constitution, and particularly if it facilitates transparency, accountability, and efficient governance. Determine whether state officers' remuneration levels and practices are in line with remuneration practices globally. Identify loopholes that have allowed misuse of allowances and benefits and allocation of illegal allowances and benefits. The remuneration structure conform to permissible fixed contract terms of service. Most notably, the review of state officers' remuneration is aimed at promoting the constitutional spirit of competitive, transparent, and sustainable remuneration that will lead to good governance, address corruption, and misuse of benefits and allowances as far as remuneration is concerned. The recommended and indeed approved remuneration structure for state officers for the period 2017-2022 is anchored on the comprehensive job evaluation that was undertaken in 2013. This is because there was no significant change in the jobs since then to warrant any other job evaluation exercise. It also takes into account the performance of the economy and the cost of living in the country. Indeed, a key plank in the review of the salary structure is that of affordability, and of course ensuring relativity of the wage structure between the state officers and the other public service, or between the highest position within the public sector and the lowest. The Commission has not only engaged with various state organs, but also consulted widely with religious organizations, special interest groups, and members of the public on this matter, and in order to factor the aspirations and the hopes of Kenyans. In these engagements, Kenyans have told us in no uncertain terms that public office is a public trust. Public officers and employees must at all times be accountable to the people. Serve them with utmost responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency. Act with patriotism and justice, and lead a modest life. As a commission, our wish is to ensure there is equity, that there is fairness and harmony in remuneration and benefits. It is our intention to provide, through defensible grading and salary structure, that we create an industrial peace, hence a conducive work environment for public service. This will be a stepping stone for providing efficient and effective essential service to Wanjiku, and also facilitate the right environment for economic growth and development in this country. In this regard, the Commission has reviewed remuneration and benefits for state officers, and some of the key features within this structure in the review include the following: the payment of a fixed salary structure guided by performance of the economy, as opposed to the current, which had an element of annual increment within the 5-year of contract term. We have also reduced some of the allowances, again based on the factors that we have discussed. We have abolished some of them, critically looking at its usability and relevance in the employment of the state officers. And for that reason, the Commission has abolished some of the allowances. One of the other key features is zoning of transport by clustering them based on the distance of the serving legislative officers, the details of which are summarized in the respective circulars that we will issue and the executive gazette notice. But briefly, I'll go through some of the key considerations and the salaries that we have adopted for the state officers. For the state officers in the executive office of the national government, we have various categories which start from the President of the Republic of Kenya. The reviewed monthly gross remuneration package, you don't need to write, we will provide this information, will be Kenya shillings 1.443750, down from the current of the high 1.650 thousand. The Deputy President from this new revised position will be 1.227, 1.188, down from 1.402,500. The Cabinet Secretaries, Secretary to the Cabinet, AG, Chief of Defense, and the group that is banded within that group will be having a fixed salary. And as mentioned earlier, these are fixed salaries for the term period of service of 924,000 from the current 1056, 1,056,000. The principal secretaries and the group that sits within that band have a reviewed salary of 765,188 from the current up of 874, 500. The commanders of the various forces within the defense force, the KDF, and the band group that fall within that group will be at 747,461 from the 854,241. And the details of those groups will be related or relayed to you immediately after this statement. Remuneration for the Senate and the National Assembly. The Speaker of the Senate and the Speaker of the National Assembly will be drawing a monthly package and fixed for the term of service of 1.155000 from the current 1.320. The Deputy Speaker of the Senate and the National Assembly will have a reviewed remuneration of 924,000 from the current 1,056,000. The leader of the majority and the Senate, and both the majority and the minority, will be drawing a gross of 765,188 from 1,020,000. Member of the Senate and Member of Parliament, the National Assembly, will be drawing a gross of 621,250 from the current 710,000. At the county government, the county governor will be drawing a gross of 924,000 from the current 1,056,000. The deputy governor will be drawing a gross of 621,250 from the current 701,441. The Speaker of the County Assembly and the CECs at the county will be drawing 259,875 from the current 350,000. The member of the County Assembly, I'm sure a number of you are keen on this, not for any other reason, these are very important players in the leadership of the county government, will be drawing a gross of 144,375 from the current 165,000. We mentioned that SRC considered and abolished some of the benefits and reduced others. Some of the abolished benefits at the county government are the governor's allowance. This takes cognizance of the fact that the remuneration paid to the governor takes care of the full responsibility, and therefore there will be no other allowance attached to the position. And so also goes the deputy governor's allowance. We have also abolished the reimbursable mileage allowance. From the statement earlier, we did mention that we will be removing some of the allowances that have been prone to abuse and closing on some of them unexpected allowances and claims that may not have been justified. For that reason, we have removed reimbursable mileage allowance, and we will be sharing part of the structures that we have given to this group. We have also removed special responsibility allowance. This takes the consideration that every position has been compensated through remuneration. So there is absolutely no need for anything called special responsibility allowance. Some of the benefits and allowances that were abolished in the Senate and the National Assembly is special parliamentary allowance, reimbursable mileage allowance, sitting allowance for plenary sessions, and I think this was part of the bigger cry from the people and probably even from all of you as Kenyans, that there is absolutely no reason why both the Senate and the National Assembly members should earn a salary and at the same time draw sitting allowance for the plenary sessions. Otherwise, there will be many sitting and standing and walking allowances. So this is removed. We've also removed special responsibility allowance for the very same reason I stated earlier. For that reason, we removed the reimbursable mileage allowance, and we adopted what we were calling zoning of the various distances within the nation, both for the Senate, the national government, and for the county government as well. And we have 5 zones with various levels of kilometers or distance. Zone A is up to 375 kilometers, giving a return trip on a monthly basis of 750 kilometers. And that they will receive a monthly maximum transport allowance for that return trip. And note this, monthly, not weekly, of Kenya shillings 266,663. Up to kilometers 500, return journey of 1,000 on a monthly basis will receive monthly maximum transport allowance payable through the payroll of 355,550. Up to 625 for Zone C and a return of 1,250 kilometers. Up to 444,438 Kenya shillings. Up to 750 return of 1,500 will be 533,323. And beyond that, that is 751 kilometers. We know Kenya is sparse and there are various kilometers to be covered, particularly by our elective members. So 751 and above will be drawing a maximum of 738,833. This removes all claimable mileages, and we all know that there were claims even up to Kenya shillings 2 million per month, and this in itself takes care of any of those abuses. For the members of county assembly, again, we have fixed rates on a monthly basis. Up to 45 kilometers return of 90 will be 22,133. Up to 100 return of 200 will be 49,183 shillings. Up to 200 return of 400 will be 98,367. 201 and beyond will claim 147,550. This applies to all our elected legislatures, both at the national, the Senate, and the county government. And we do away with anything called claims, the Friday claims. Out of all this, and with the prudent consideration that SRC factored as outlined in our background, we will draw a savings to this nation, and we are proud to announce that that from the savings accruing from the new salary structure is a total of Kenya shillings 8 billion 853 204 952 on the various items or the categories of the payment, and that is structured in a document that you will receive. That is basically giving the highlight of the reviewed remuneration structures and benefits for the state officers in the next 2017-2022. The ultimate goal of SRC is to bring wage bill, which currently stands at 52% of the domestic revenue, to sustainable levels of below 35%. This will go a long way in ensuring that the public sector wage bill is within the threshold provided for by the Public Finance Management Act. We all need to be accountable to the Kenyans, and as public servants, we cannot ignore the element of sacrifice, as opposed to looking at employment as a source of enriching ourselves. We need to elevate the service. We need to elevate our sacrifice to the people, and probably answer the question, what must I do to the people other than what will I get out of the service? We should strive towards being a producing country as opposed to being a consuming one. We are appealing to the employing agencies to also critically look at the numbers, because we all know that wage bill is a factor of two variables, the numbers and the values. And as SRC looks at the modest remuneration levels, we also need to critically look at the numbers so that we do not lose the benefits derived from the remuneration by employing more. The wage bill, as I have said, is a number of both the values and the numbers. The aim is to ensure we have optimum numbers in the public sector for efficient and effective service delivery. That is our aspiration as Kenyans. That is our prayer as SRC, and we will continue to work with all these agencies and the Kenyans to deliver our mandate. Thank you very much.